Alright, good evening, everybody. Welcome to yet another Metroid Prime randomized tournament race. This time between awp82 and AeroRaiser. Both of these runners are in the 2-0 round, so both looking to stay perfect here in the tournament. My name's Baja Blood. I'm joined here by Sasquatch's 540... 954. How's it going tonight, Sass?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing well. So we've got some interesting runners agreements tonight. We've got random starting location, random two-way elevators, and 1 to 3 starting items. So you may see a repeat of bombs on Flagra here. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see where the runners end up starting off here. Definitely lead to some interesting.
It is, it is two-way between areas, so no, odd elevators that take you from one side of an area to the other side. They will all lead to different areas. We are getting going in the race time here. The restream should catch up in a moment.
So yeah, for those not aware, we've moved on to version 3.1.0 of Randomania for this round of the tournament. And these settings might not matter quite as much, but it does sort of address some of the front-loading of Chozo. So we've seen a bit more variety so far in where progression's getting placed. But with the random start, you could see some interesting things. Randomania has the potential to be to do some interesting things when you give it the license to do so. So I'm very curious to see what we're going to find here in this seed.
Yeah. And a Chozo Ruin start.
Just the missile launcher. Interesting. Let's see. So it looks like both runners opting to head forwards towards the watery hall area. There are some checks in the other direction as well. But this watery hall access is probably the closest single check to where they started, so I think this does make some sense. Oh wait, no, they can't actually get back to main plaza, can they, without more hall? Which, speaking of, there it is.
Yep.
So now that actually both of those items are found, we end up in a pretty normal position where there's a decent number of early Chozo checks. The intrigue will come when we find what our main plaza and sun tower elevators are, since there's a main power bomb here too in Watery Hall.
Yeah, having more main power bombs and some missiles, that actually opens up quite a bit of Chozo. See what lower dynamo here has for op.
Ooh, Arrow turning around after picking up the main power bombs. Although, luckily, only a missile here in lower dynamo. Also, Arrow not opting to even...
on too much.
Arrow also not opting to scan the lower watery hall item. It's a bit tricky to obtain with no E-tanks and no space jumps. We'll see if Op goes for the scan here too.
I think Op's trying to farm a little bit.
Yep, Arrow might be taking a save to come back and go for that. don't blame that play here at all. I think this is very likely a bait progression, and it's pretty difficult to obtain. Oh no, just a nothing.
I think Arrow was just going for the safety save before checking it. And Op getting the guaranteed refill from the Shriek Bat there.
Answer question in chat. Power bombs is useful for defeating Flagra, but you can't normally get to that room without bombs. Because you hard require bombs to blow up the debris in Arboretum, and you also hard require bombs to climb Sun Tower. So it was really just kind of a fluke of starting up already that room already that allowed that seed to require you to beat Flagra with only power bombs.
Yeah, that is the only instance that power bombs will be required for Flagra. Arrow now going back for the lower dynamo check.
This is a little interesting. Op going for Zoid here, which unless this is vanilla bombs or maybe boost ball, will be a soft lock here. Given that we have a lot of checks in early Chozo, I'm a little surprised by this, but could well pay off here. I haven't seen vanilla bombs. In fact, I think Op saw vanilla bombs like 3 seeds in a row while doing practice, so maybe that's kind of playing in here.
Yeah, it could be. Well, also they're just close to it, so I mean it doesn't hurt to check.
Yeah.
At least get an idea of what the 2 items are, if anything.
Yep, and if neither is important, then you still do get you 2 checks out of the way here with not too long of a time investment. First check, unfortunately, just a missile. We'll see what Zoid itself has. And looks like Arrow is not going to go fight Zoid here, so see if this pays off for Op here, or maybe Arrow might take a little bit of a lead here. Just a missile here in Ruin Fountain. Yeah, what's oh rude. Okay,
That's
well,
gravity suit.
Yep, Op resets, unable to collect that and leave. But that is interesting knowledge. Wonder if Op will ever go back for that. It is entirely possible to do every check in the game without Gravity Suit, but it certainly does speed up some things like Frigate.
Yeah, definitely.
I would be a little disappointed in that. Oh, there's bombs. Speak of the devil. Finding them.
It's a fairly convenient spot for bombs.
Yeah,
Good to do the gallery tunnel right away. For
Yeah,
Varia suit.
Wow.
So with all these items, I'm curious what the first elevators we're going to see. I think a Magmore one is likely, but we'll find out. Missile on Hive Totem. Nothing in Transport Access North.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure here we'll see where our first elevator goes. With the random elevators, this may not necessarily go to Lava Lake. Instead, Twin Fires. So, fairly similar to vanilla there.
The sun tower goes to twin fires. Probably gonna at least want to check vault and vault ledge here. I'm grabbing an E-tank on the Morphball pedestal and shrine here. And another one in the lower item.
And
Not bad to have early.
meanwhile, AeroRaiser finds validation in vault and opts not to collect it. Oh, and Ice Spreader here on Vault Ledge. Didn't get a good look at what our other two main plaza items are that are accessible. Well, not quite accessible actually right now, but visible anyways.
Yeah. I don't think either of them have checked the main plaza elevator yet, have they?
No, I don't think we've seen that yet.
Just the sun tower check from Arrow.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if taking that Twin Fires elevator was our next logical expected play here, though. Faria bombs,
with
power
bombs
bombs.
can get lower fiery shores, and can even get storage cavern over by the Triclops pit. And looks like Arrow is now going for the main plaza elevator. Picking up their bombs. It's another Magmore elevator. I want to say I saw a monitor station.
Oh, it's workstation, save station, so can't progress here without wave beam.
Yeah.
We're gonna save warp back to Flagra, the room before Flagra. Let's see if routes through Flagra here. Ooh, maybe. Or could just be heading back
Flagra's
towards
a
Zoid.
choice. Yeah. Now, with that Twin Fires elevator, that I guess with the either elevator, the workstation, or the Twin Fires, the gravity on Zoid with space jump can be used to traverse through Twin Fires tunnel to the back of Magmore.
Oh, true. Yep. Gravity is in logic. And Arrow looking likely to find that pretty shortly here. Up, also refusing validation. Probably no full trackers here tonight. Wow, space jump on gathering hall. That's a good find for Arrow there. I wonder when Oppo will actually make his way back here for that.
Just a missile on lower fiery shores. So yeah, Arrow jumping into Zoid now. Gonna get the gravity suit and can do lower furnace with the current equipment.
Not electing to climb Monitor Station and SGA, which is a little bit of a annoying climb. Also, neither Warrior Shrine nor Upper
Yeah.
Fiery Shores is in logic yet, although they are both accessible. And, well, they're in logic with our knowledge, but not with Ops. A nice missile refill there from those crates. Here's that grab suit for AeroRaiser. Looks like Arrow will continue on to Furnace here. Another new thing to this round of the tournament is we have a competitive cutscene preset, which removes some cutscenes that aren't considered essential to play here. One of which being all these ones in Energy Core, so it does definitely speed up progressing through this room.
Yeah, this room is very nice with cutscene skips.
Not much here in early Magmar.
Not finding too much in Magmar. Yeah. So I'm guessing lower furnace, maybe wave beam in lower furnace.
Yeah, it's possible that the lava lake elevator takes us like to Talon or something, in which case Op could find some decent stuff there.
Yeah, that is true. Just an E-tank in lower furnace.
Ooh, I'm curious if this will be a save or just a save warp here from Op. Oh, we'll check the elevator. I think that's a good play. And Arrow will soon be confronted with the eternal decision to plant or not to plant.
Yeah, and with space jump can also get grapple edge. I don't know if we've seen what that is yet, and upper ruin shrine as well.
Lava Lake taking us to Upper Tree Hall, which is not going to be useful without the ice beam.
Yeah, so they need ice beam to get through the doors of the transport tunnel, which I did forget for a moment there, because Great Tree Chamber is a blue door. That is the only blue door in that area.
Looks like just a couple more missiles here in Main Plaza, so nothing terribly useful with our space jump. We do have the Upper Ruin Shrine item that hasn't been checked yet. So Arrow is heading for that. Just more missiles.
Just missiles. I think at this point, Flogger's the play.
Yeah, it seems likely.
I can't think of
Although
anything
we do
else that's
have,
logical
we
right
have
now.
Monitor Station and transport. So we have the transport tunnel A item and the Monitor Station elevator. So maybe one of
we
those
do,
is
yeah.
the play. don't mind the lack of save word from Op. So Op's already checked both Zoid. Oh, there's Wave.
That's
Op's
waving.
checked both Zoid checks, so only has Lower Furnace and Plant back in Chozo. Ooh, Shoreline's interesting.
Now, Op, unfortunately, not going back to Gathering Hall, so haven't gotten their spaceship yet.
So we have locked in ice here. Oh yes, that's right. Op is still MSJ. That's a little annoying here in Shoreline's area.
Yeah.
And show off this little bomb jump to get up to the Ice Ruins East door quicker. Nice little time save there. Ooh, Arrow looks likely to find his wave beam right here as well. Yeah, this is quite good for Arrow. With Wave and Space Jump, there is a lot more accessible here in Fendrana than Op will be able to collect.
Yeah. And Op without Space Jump can't even look at what the Spider Track item is for Ice Ruins East.
That's unfortunate. Yeah, I may have to come back here
Well,
or kind of have that hanging over. Oh, Arrow turning around. That's a
yeah.
little interesting. Although Arrow, I don't think has completed the rest of the early Magmore checks, so maybe choosing to do those first and then
Yeah.
come back here. Oh, getting him bullied by a turret.
So SJ was in Gathering Hall. I was having a little bit of trouble with that stand over there. That particular jump can be finicky. Looks like just an E-Tank in Canyon. I think Op is going to forgo that.
Meanwhile, Arrow is showing us Warrior Shrine and Upper Fiery Shores, both being missiles. Unfortunate. So that we'll see if Arrow opts to head to Fendrana here.
With Wave, Spaceship, and Gravity could also see what the workstation debris elevator is. Well, actually, no, they can't. Not without ice. Because there is one ice store over there.
Yep, could check Workstation, although Workstation won't be in Logic in these settings without Thermal Visor. Oh, Arrow hasn't been to this area yet. Okay, this makes sense. Seeing the scan dash and deciding the missile is not worth the time investment.
Yep. Op went with a warp to start from Shorelines. Little limited there without the space jump.
Ooh, should be fighting Space Jump though. That's good news for Op. See if Op decides to go collect that grab suit as well. A little bit of a time investment with the Zoid fight being a little bit long.
Yeah, with that warp to start though, not too huge of a backtrack, at least for the space jump boots.
Ooh, unfortunate. A little early on the on the unmorph there. Lost a bunch of height and wasn't able to make the jump.
So unless you're... So I tend to face out to the right a little bit more. So what can happen, I don't know what it is with the camera. Samus will, for some reason, will morph and kind of turn you sideways there. Picking up Space Joe. And we'll see if they choose to redo Zoid or if they're just going for the lower furnace check. They are
Yeah,
going to
it's
pick up
heading for
that
ground
gravity.
suit. Yeah, I think that's reasonably likely to pay off over the course of the seed. Also gives you some damage reduction throughout the rest of the race as well, which is always appreciated.
Yep.
Here we're going to get the bad news of the ice-locked elevator up here. Let's see if Arrow ends up heading back to the monitor station elevator to Ventrana or returns to Chozo. We do have a couple random checks that opened up in Chozo with the wave beam. But I think the bulk of the potential places for the progression are going to be in the Shorelines area.
Now, if Flagra has something like Ice Beam, it'd be a little unfortunate, but you know, being as they started in Arboretum, it's an easy warp to start back and then just immediately do the fight. Still a little bit out of the way depending on how far they get.
How about a very good refight there of Zoid, defeating it well before the music looped, which is kind of the general cue of whether the fight has gone well or not. And yeah, Tower Chamber definitely in logic at this point, so could be holding something like an Ice Beam. That would be kind of limiting our runners going forwards. But I think the most likely option is that something's in early Fendrana or labs behind some of these space jump checks that Op wasn't able to look at.
Yeah. Now with Wave, Op can opt to check Crossway, which Arrow has not.
True. Could also take a peek at
choose to
Vanilla
go
Ice.
through. Yeah, and check the elevator behind the save station as well.
Oh, that's right. That doesn't require ice. Yeah.
Yeah,
Ooh,
can't
that's
get to
interesting.
the
If
far
that's
end
our
elevator.
If that's our first talent elevator, that could be actually a pretty big play for Op here.
I see a bit in chat for Ice Beam and Research Core. Probably the last place you want Ice Beam, or you want to see Ice Beam.
Yeah, definitely not my favorite. Although, honestly, I think Vanilla Ice might be worse. Just because, like, Labs has so much stuff that I'm likely to go in there looking for Ice Beam, and at that point you might as well press onto Research Core, but I'm still going to do Labs before Vanilla Ice Beam, because that sucks.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, it could be very interesting if we have like an Ice Beam and early Talon, and our access to it is through this far Chozo elevator. Zop is turning around. Won't get to see what this elevator is.
Yeah.
Ooh, supers on Chapel of the Elders. Good find for arrow there. Shegoth has super missiles for arrow here, which is definitely worth picking up. Does lock a number of checks. Fortunately, without arrow, I don't know if arrow is out of power bombs, so is forced to use the missile strikes.
Yeah,
here
that's
from
what I was
Shegoth.
wondering. Or maybe it just doesn't quite know. Op going for magma pool here.
Yeah, can you get
Finds
this
just a missile.
axis? Actually, is the grav suit strat in beginner logic?
I want to say no. I have the visualizer up. Let me double check.
Ooh, a visor in
I
training
want to say
chamber.
interesting. If lower mines is required and that's X-ray, that's something.
Yeah, and with pretty late access to talent, it seems like that can often mean that your artifacts are in pretty rude locations. So, entirely possible that that X-ray may, if that is an X-ray, it may be required.
So magma pool is indeed intermediate standable, intermediate movement, intermediate L jump, gravity.
Okay, so not in logic yet until we find grapple beam.
Arrow checking the spider track here, nice runs east, and just a missile.
Yep, always nice to have that little weight off your shoulders. Although, not being able to check Chozo Ice Temple, given the lack of plasma beam, does mean that there is one unknown check here that Arrow might have to come back for.
Yeah. Up going for Upper Ruin Shrine, probably going to go grab Tower Chamber as well.
Arrow on their way to the unfortunate useless item here in Canyon, but might start giving us some new checks once they head into Ruin Courtyard here.
Yep. Up
Just a
finding
PB.
Power Bomb expansion and Tower Chamber.
Nice to have, but not quite the progression Op was probably looking for. Yeah, I'm starting to get very curious about that Far Chozo elevator. Unless Ice Beam ends up being here in Research Core or Labs, it seems like that might end up being the required progression here.
Yeah, if we see maybe thermal, like if we see thermal in Courtyard, might be pointing towards Thardis with the newly found super missiles.
Oh, that's right, we do have supers, yep. Thermal also would open up the Magmore workstation item that we've had access to illogically for a while. And Op may actually be checking right now.
Yep. And just nothing in them. So I think Arrow, I would say probably takes the safety save and then maybe goes into Labs.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty reasonable play to head into labs here, even at risk of having to turn around or quit back to a save. Although I guess without boost ball, only Hydra is logically available to us, isn't it?
Yeah, so if... hmm. So, Ob never checked the back Chozo elevator, and if Hydra has nothing, I think that's where the runners are logically required to go. You know, neither runner has done Flagra, so that is
Also
also
true.
an option.
Yep, entirely possible if Flagra has our progression here.
And I see Op scanning symbols. I think he's making the Flagra play.
Yeah, I think that's relatively likely to pay out. If that elevator isn't good, then this is really only one of two checks that's available to us right now.
Now, I do know Arrow can do the observatory scan dash. We'll see if they decide to do that to check the rest of labs, or if they're gonna stay strict with the logic.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised to see the play. Once you're here, you might as well probably check all of it, even if it's not in logic.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
do
it is
agree
definitely
with the
worth kind of
play, but
keeping in
you do
mind.
have to have the
Oh
logic in the
dear.
back of your mind. And that's X-ray. So thermal is the one in training chamber.
Yeah, of the two visors to be locked up there, that's probably the better one.
Now, unless the yeah, this makes me curious now where the logic wants them to go.
Yeah, it's pretty much
So
like either got
X-ray
to
doesn't
be
provide immediate
boost on
use.
Flogger would be very interesting because that would actually make what Arrow's doing probably the real play. But Ice Beam on Flogger would open up a bunch of stuff that is not the direction that Arrow is heading.
Yeah.
So you think you're an observatory? Gets the dash across, doesn't get bullied by the pirate. Yes, training chamber logically requires spider and boost, plus all the stuff to get across magma pool and the wave beam.
Yeah, so logically for them to do training chamber, you need Varya and grapple to cross magma pool, wave beam to get through the door, then boost, morph ball, bombs, spider to collect the item and get out.
Just an E tank is that on Flagra? Wow. Yeah, it looks like. Oh, and Op immediately quits out. That's an interesting play, honestly. I think I would keep credit for that just in case I needed to come back for ghosts.
Yeah, I think I would have as well. Because if Ghost ends up being required, then Op is going to have to fight Flagra again.
So yeah, logically, it looks like
So I
that
think at this
far
point,
Chozo elevator has to be the intended progression. Yeah, Op, without having checked all the Fendrana checks, maybe thinking that that is the play instead. So it looks like Op is also heading back towards Fendrana. Our first artifact here in Research Lab Aether. Always nice to find. Yeah, one more change with the version 3.1.0 is the ghost checks. The ghost check now does require both spider and super missiles in the beginner presets that we are running. Previously, you could be expected to have only spider ball and do the thing where you kind of roll down and up the track.
Yeah, there has since been an intermediate knowledge requirement for that trick. Now, it does not stop from either, spider or supers being on Flagra, but it at least guarantees that you're not locked out of a check if you fall down the tower.
Yeah, Arrow, unfortunately, only finding that artifact in labs, although finding that artifact in Aether is actually a little bit annoying, because at this point you probably don't want to quit out of here. And so I'd expect to see Arrow save warp out of here. Head back to Observatory first.
Yeah, could save warp out of Observatory, yeah.
Now at that point, I think Arrow is pretty much out of things aside from Tower Chamber and that elevator in Logic anyways. So I'll be curious to see, I assume we'll see a save warp out of Observatory, so I'll be curious to see if Arrow heads into far Chozo or early Chozo after. Although yes, that's true, we haven't seen the tree yet, and Arrow does have it as well.
Now we could see the Thardus play, but without having grapple or spider to get out, I want to say that's probably not the play, even though, it is possible. So I think with Just Wave, that back Chozo elevator, I think it's likely to be a Talon elevator.
Yeah, I agree.
It could also be, it could be main quarry and have ice as the main quarry item. That would be a little trolly.
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, what is required to climb Ruined Courtyard? Is Space Jump enough in these settings? Or do you need at least one of Spider or Boost?
I believe it is in these settings with the new logic changes. Let me double check, and this is why I have the data visualizer open.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if actually it might have been possible to kind of deduce that progression was not in labs here. Looks like Arrow is going to get baited into Flagra here. The normal start is landing site in Talon Overworld, so the ship. And also normally you'll have no starting items and vanilla elevators. But these runners changed all of that up for this race to have a little bit of a interesting seed here to show us.
So if I'm reading this correctly, I think it's intermediate standable with space jump boots. So logically would need boost or spider to get through to labs.
So yeah, so that's interesting. So at this point, I think, well, Arrow does need to do Flagra before being able to, for certain, know that the intended route is through the Barchozo elevator. Yeah, that's a tricky bit of logic there, because normally you don't think about going through there without ice, because if you take that elevator in vanilla, the very first door you encounter is an ice door. But in these settings with random elevators, it's entirely possible that you don't need Ice Beam to make progress through that.
Yep.
I really can't even think of anywhere else that the elevator could lead that would give us logical checks with the equipment we have. I think it almost has to go to Root Cave or Talon Canyon. Yeah, the Quarantine Cave elevator would dump us straight into the Thardus fight without Ice Beam, which will mean we do definitely need Thermal. And I don't think there's anywhere that Thermal can be right now. I think our runners are expected to find a random elevator at this point with no additional equipment that they currently have.
Well, we do know where Thermal is, though. It's inaccessible. So because X-Ray was in labs, that means Thermal has to be in training chamber, which means the runners still need boost, spider, and grapple to put that into logic. Yeah, unless Ice Beam's vanilla, it has to be that elevator.
Yeah, we are rapidly running out of options here. Seed is pretty interesting. It looks like so we have a random start and random elevators, and it looks like both of our runners are locked by needing to go to the Far Chozo Reflecting Pool save station elevator without Ice Beam to make any progress. Which is one of those things that you normally don't think about if you don't shuffle elevators, because you need Ice Beam to really make any progress from there.
Yeah, because typically that elevator leads to the top of Frigate crash site, which is ice locked. So it's kind of an odd metric that you kind of have to think about with random elevators. Now, Brawler pointing out that we have not seen the tree yet, and we have not seen antechambers, so that is two possible locations for ice before having to resort to the elevator.
Yeah, an arrow looks like they're heading towards the tree here. Yeah, making the play into labs here. Unfortunately, is only going to be... Oh, okay. I thought that might have been the Thardus for a second there, but yeah, labs makes more sense. Fortunately, we'll only be rewarded with one artifact out of this play. Alright, so what's here in the tree? Just a missile. So Arrow will check power chamber, that makes a lot of sense, but won't find anything there. So yeah, I think we are definitely hard locked by that elevator in Parchozo. We haven't checked. Yeah, we do have an elevator to Upper Tree Hall, but we don't have ice beam, so can't make any progress there. So I think both runners have checked everything that's in logic with what we know right now, but there is one elevator that is unchecked, and that is the elevator in Reflecting Pool. So I assume at this point that has to lead to either Talon Canyon or Root Cave, and that's where our progression will be. Looks like Arrow is making the play to climb up Tower Chamber here. This is still not going to have a logical progression item given the missile requirement being more than what the missile launcher provides, and that Randomizer doesn't account for missile expansions that are found. And then the scan dashes that you can use to climb the room are not in beginner logic.
Yep.
So yeah, let's see if Arrow puts things together here. I think Arrow has actually checked everything available. And so the only play now is that elevator. So we'll see if Arrow heads towards that now. Nope, maybe I could check workstation here first. Oh, nice first try observatory dash. And the second part cleanly as well. Yeah, this is a pretty interesting scene. We're closing in on the hour mark, still don't have any artifact hints, and only have found one artifact. And Phazon's suit, of course, nowhere to be found, as well as two of our beams. And both of our ball upgrades. This is definitely it's a pretty interesting scene, honestly.
Yeah, the progression so far for both of these runners has been a little slow going.
Just a missile and workstation. So Arrow is turning around. Save warp is the quickest way back to Farchozo. We'll see if Arrow chooses to do that. Thermal is in Training Chamber, which Op checked earlier but could not pick up without having Boost and Spider. Arrow's going the wrong way. Oh no, this is the right way. Nope, now I was going the wrong way. This could be a play towards Magma Pool and Training Chamber access, which are not in logic, but should be fairly easy to pick up. Nope. Yeah, I think we have to have the early Talon elevator and some progression there, whether it's Ice Beam or something that leads to Ice Beam.
Unless Ice Beam's vanilla. I mean, that's the only check left before that elevator.
That's true, yep. So yeah, actually at this point with both runners pretty much last locationing it, we may end up pretty close to being kind of tied up here again.
And, you know, if they're meant to go on that elevator, progression could very much be something different. But I think ice is the most likely, though.
Yeah, not much else opens up in any checks. We've seen most of the currently plasma lock checks except for Chozo Ice Temple. We've seen that some of these grapple lock checks, like in the magma pool area, weren't anything. Yeah, really Ice Beam is the main factor holding our runners up here from having access to a bunch more checks. Yes, there is a quality of life option that introduces changes to scan points, and yes, the scan point will tell you what the research core item is. The top one, anyways. Yeah, Arrow making play into Farchozo. This will pan out. Okay, I wonder where our ball upgrades are this seed. Normally we get them pretty early, but they could be in a lot of places now at this point. See if anything interesting here is in Crossway. Fairly easy to pick up, although it's not quite in Logic yet without Spider Ball.
I thought Ob checked it and it was a missile.
Ah,
Yeah.
right. It is indeed a missile. Arrow overlapping a couple cutscenes here, but not the normal two. Choosing to use the wave beam here rather than the bomb jump trick. Definitely kind of makes sense, although it does make the layer a bit more annoying here if you need to come back for Elder Chamber or the Hall of the Elders checks. End up having to fight 3 Chozo Ghosts.
Having to do the... Yep.
Ooh, is Aunt making the Thardis play? Gosh, what if it's thermal in early Talon and this is Ice Beam? That would be something. Up deciding that is far too cruel of a thought to exist in this world and turning around. Lacking the thermal visor knows this check isn't done logic and it's awfully slow, so it kind of makes sense to skip it for now. Oh, that's right, we do know where thermal is.
Okay. Missiles and antechamber. What is the elevator? And Op over here checking the map, seeing what else is there. I mean, Op could do Thardis, but unless it's Spider or Grapple, I just have to do very difficult tricks to get anywhere else.
Yeah, the slope jumps to get out are definitely finicky. It looks like taking a save warp. So should be following behind AeroRaiser here, having checked pretty much everything else that's accessible. And yes, indeed, we have early Talon access. Finally, at the 57-minute mark. So I'm going to go ahead and guess Ice Beam is on Frigate Crash Site. Arrow
Interesting.
choosing to check the root cave items here.
I'm gonna go ice and alcove.
And we're going to go for the short out of bounds here to check the Arbor Chamber item early. Doesn't quite get the standable, but with bombs is able to bail out of that pretty quick.
And looks like Op has realized that that elevator is accessible and is following shortly behind Arrow here.
Arrow missed the hole in the ceiling. We'll have to find a way to find their way to it and or ceiling warp into that room. There is a small chance of soft locking at this point, even with morph ball bombs. There's a couple spots in the ceiling that are not friendly.
Yeah. So at this point, the best thing to do is to make your way to the top of the door, which will load in the visible part of the room. And then you can see there's some other standable to get back up. Oh. And has made it.
Nice shot, Arrow. Makes it, but unfortunately only an E-tank.
Here's what the Talon Canyon elevator is.
Wouldn't be too surprised to see this lead to mines. Yep, indeed, main quarry elevator.
That means ice can be in main quarry. That's also an option now.
Yep, I think we logically would need Spider Ball for that. I don't think the slope jump method.
Yeah, logically would need thermal and gravity. Or thermal and spider for
Yeah,
that.
do need to activate the thermal point. Although I guess Spider in itself does give us. Oh no, we need boost. So we would need Spider and boost to put main quarry into logic. And speaking of Spider Ball, there it is. Oh wow, so we still have 5 artifacts remaining. We checked pretty much all of the early checks. Looks like they're all going to be in mines or Farfendrana, maybe tree chamber area. Or frigate, always frigate.
So, yeah, if ice is not in frigate crash site, gonna have to backtrack for spider checks in Chozo probably. Alright, so we got artifact hints. I saw a lot of mines and a cargo freight deck. I'm gonna check this elevator here, find out it is main quarry. Arrow going for a scan dash here in frigate crash site and finds just a missile.
Theoretically, you can do reverse frigate in these settings and get all 3 frigate checks without thermal visor if you have access to the back of frigate. So it kind of depends on where our lower tree hull chamber item or elevator is.
So Arrow choosing to go in for the main quarry check. Without Ice Beam, that is the only check that is accessible in mines. Other than that, Spider opens up Sun Chamber Ghosts, Upper Dynamo, and the Ice Runs East Spider track, but we did see the Spider track in Ice Runs East, which I believe was a missile.
I actually don't remember where X-Ray was.
X-Ray was Hydra, Research Lab Hydra, in
Right.
the tank.
Yep. Yep, Spider Ball was in Alcove. Which unfortunately, given our kind of rude elevator layout, we didn't get access to until the hour mark.
Just a missile in main quarry.
Yeah, not much else for us here in
Change
mines.
progression.
What is it, like
I think
Ghosts,
it's
or
Ghosts
Upper Dynamo?
Upper Dynamo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a seed. Wow, we are going all over the place. At least the save warp is a little bit of a convenient location, given how many times we need to head back to mid-Chozo here.
Yeah, not having warp to start on for this would be it'd be a doozy for routing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, Arrow not choosing to save before save warping, although honestly on Dolphin I have personally never experienced a crash. I think it's a little more likely on Nintendo, but it is sometimes worth it to be a little cautious here, especially in a race, because a crash would be pretty devastating. Arrow heading straight for Ghosts, looks like. Or not? Looks at the workstation elevator and chooses to head that way. What could that be? Arrow has seen Ice Runs East, which also opened it up with Spider. But I don't think Spider opened anything else up this way.
does not. I mean, boost would open up plasma processing. Maybe they're thinking the other workstation elevator, but I mean, unfortunately, you need ice for that one.
Yeah, I very much wonder where Arrow is heading here.
I mean, only thing I can think of is going back to Findrana for the Ice Roads East spider track.
Yeah, but Arrow had spaceship and I think was able to see that that was a missile, whereas Op, I think, is the one who isn't aware of what that item
maybe
is.
forgot. Or maybe going to Artis. You know, not quite logical yet, but with Spider can definitely get back out. And that would also net them another elevator in the back of Findrana. So maybe that's what they're thinking.
Yeah, that's true. We do have another elevator accessible. But I can't think of anywhere like terribly useful that could lead without ice beam. Because we haven't seen Lower Tree Hall, we haven't seen PPC, we haven't seen the other Farchozo one. I think or the other workstation one. So I think all the elevators left are ice locked.
Yeah. But if say like boost is on Ghost or boost is upper dynamo for that thermal, and then that puts Thardus into logic, I think could give Arrow a little bit of a lead here if Thardus has the progression. Thardus or Quarantine Monitor.
Looks like Op will be heading towards the upper dynamo item, so yeah, if this is boost... oh no, sorry, Op's heading the other way. This is probably towards Ghosts, I hope. Oh. Just rechecking the Ruin Fountain item. Op also looking at this workstation elevator. Though Op is missing the information that Icewind Beast is dead. Oh, and the tree, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like Arrow must be heading towards Thardus. Nothing else here is accessible. This is possibly the play. I mean, this skipping Boost Ball is never great, but if Boost Ball is the next intended progression at like Upper Dynamo or Ghosts, really the only things that unlock are the thermal leading to Thardus. Oh, that is unfortunate for Op here, though. With Ghost being one of our 2 available checks, Op will have to refight Flagra to check Ghosts. So it's a huge time investment. Yeah, Upper Dynamo is definitely the play to check here. Yeah, Op also taking this Magmar elevator. I'm... Okay, no. Untaking this Magmar elevator. And Arrow taking on Brock the Dwayne Johnson. Power bombs and supers. Not a terribly long fight, but still definitely one of the more tedious checks to pull off here.
I think Op is going to do Flog River reverse here.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. From here, can relatively easily get back to the Dynamo area. And at that point, has to pretty much find something between one of those 2 tracks.
And with power bombs, can do a strat to break 2 bomb slots at a time and make the fight a bit quicker.
Not actually sure why power bombs aren't used throughout. My guess would be that the higher rocks are too high for a power bomb to hit, but I could be wrong. Well, it looks like they're going for the setup for the power bomb strats here. Plasma on Thardis.
Plasma
Wow.
on Thardis.
So that only opens Chozo Ice Temple, right? Is it going to be like... Is this like the world tour here? Boost on Ghosts or Upper Dynamo to Plasma on Thardis to Ice finally on Chozo Ice Temple?
Oh, that would be so bad. Yeah, with the nice scan dash there over to Quarantine Monitor. Oh yeah, Ice has to be... Yeah, if we find Boost here on Ghosts or in Upper Dynamo, that's Thermal into Logic to get... or to put Thardis into Logic.
Yeah, I think if Boost is one of these 2 checks, I think it has to be Ice on Chozo Ice Temple. Otherwise, I think Ice has to pretty much be one of the Ghost or Upper Dynamo checks. I think there's just like not really any other option.
Press side elevator. So that is locked by Ice. So there's not many places that Ice could be.
And given that none of our artifacts are locked by Plasma, it is of course obligatory that Phazon Suit is, to make sure that our runners can't skip any checks here. Thermal Visor is in Training Chamber. We are only missing... Wait, actually... we're missing grapple and boost ball to get that. So it would almost have to be both of these Chozo checks are exactly those items to put that plasma into logic. So actually that makes me think it's very likely that Ice Beam is just one of these two checks. Otherwise it's going to have to be both of those progression items on exactly those two locations.
Now, I do have to mention one thing. I made this.
Well, yeah. I think I will thank you, because this has actually been very interesting, but I'm sure our runners may have different thoughts when we get to the interview here. Yeah, I think as op, I don't think I would fight Thardus here unless I get like exactly grapple and boost from these two checks. But gosh, plasma being there is so rude. We have not seen Upper Dynamo yet. That is one of the two logically accessible locations besides this ghost check here. And this is a missile.
Missile?
So unless I'm mistaken...
And an E-Tank.
I think it has to be Ice Beam and Upper Dynamo. I don't think any singular other item gives us logical checks.
It has to be at this point. And then where do they go?
Yeah, that opens up the whole world, which is actually very unfortunate for Op, because Thardus at that point becomes, honestly, pretty much the last location you would go to for Plasma Beam. Oh, that's really unfortunate. What a seed. Strap in for the long haul here, folks. This is something. Alright, Arrow did, I think, just check Chozo Ice Temple. Found it was, I assume, nothing given what we found on plant. And is heading towards Upper Dynamo. Actually, both our runners may find this Ice Beam at pretty much the same time, which is actually a very big advantage for Arrow being up the Plasma Beam. Oh, Arrow's going the other direction, I think. Where is Arrow going? Oh, Ghosts? Perhaps this is Ghosts into Dynamo. Alright, so this buys up some time, but I still don't think it's going to be enough, given that Thardus is just such an inconvenient play at this point once you find Ice Beam. And yeah, Plasma Beam was on Thardus. Yep, Thardus was cooking, overcooking as it turns out, with the heat of the plasma.
Now, where does Op decide to go now?
I think, honestly, no matter where the far Chozo elevator leads, it's a decent spot. It's either going to be Lower Tree Hall. Well, actually, that's not great, is it? Without having boosts for bar skip. But it's also decently likely to be PPC. And we also do get the Hall of the Elders check here. Also true. Reverse frigate is entirely accessible at this point with gravity and ice. Well, if we find the lower elevator. Unfortunately, we'll all have to do the triple dose fight here, but with X-Ray and Supers, can make pretty short work of it. Meanwhile, Aero is fighting 3 ghosts of his own. Yes, we have random start and random two-way elevators in this, due to some runners agreements here. We do have access to a good chunk of mines through the main quarry elevator we found in Talon Canyon, but that is fairly out of the way given our elevator layout. But that may end up actually being where Op chooses to head to. We do also have the frigate elevator and overground cavern that could pretty easily be checked upon heading to Talon as well.
So the back of Findrana elevator goes to frigate crash site.
Oh, I must have missed that one.
So I think the Sparchozo elevator is going to have to be Phazon Processing Center or Lower Great Tree Hall.
I think at this point, I would say Aero is pretty decently ahead just because of the pretty rude location for Plasma and that Aero happened to check it before finding ice. Because now that Off has found ice, I would think Thardis is one of the lowest priority checks out there.
Yeah.
Now, if Phazon is not in lower mines, then we don't really end up needing Plasma for anything but Go mode, and at that point it does kind of limit the locations it can possibly be for Off, and maybe Off will get led to Thardis relatively quickly. But if Plasma is in lower mines, then this could be pretty rude for Off here. And yeah, Aero with finding the Ice Beam is now just in Phazon Hunt Go mode here. Although would love to track down Boost for the Ridley fight. Let me actually double check. Yeah, I think everything else is accessible as is. Elite Research, Upper could be a little bit rude without Boost Ball, but it is possible to pick up that item through some spinner manipulations. Yeah, with the Plasma being Aero, we'll get to check Elder Chamber here, which I'll didn't get an opportunity to. Looks like they're choosing to head down into lower mines, although they can't get too far without Plasma, being there are 2 artifacts down this way that are accessible without Plasma. So this play does work out pretty well if, in fact, Phazon is not in lowest mines. off of a 47
That was
square
a
maze.
pretty
That is
bad
pretty
maze.
bad. But is rewarded with an artifact for the trouble, and can head on to MQA for yet another artifact. Just a new tank here in Elder Chamber for AeroRaiser. Arrow taking the elevator to Talon. Wouldn't be too surprised to see the Talon Canyon elevator here to main quarry. Answer a question in chat. If you do the plasma slot first, you won't be able to check any of the other bowling checks, but if you leave and reload the room, the statue will be back where it was. You can do any of the other bomb slots. And picks up yet another artifact here in MQA, and we'll be heading, I assume, towards Upper Mines. Although could potentially also make the play into PPC and see where that elevator goes. Or save warp. Update for the save warp. I find that a little curious. Wonder where Off is planning to go from here. Oh, true, yes. Off did not have boost to reclimb vent shaft. Ah, that's unfortunate, yeah.
Yep.
Mine's a bit difficult to get back to. Unless the other Farchozo elevator here is to PPC, which I don't think AeroRaiser checked the other elevator.
Yeah, I think the better play for Off would have been to Abu first, and then finish in lower mines. You know, in case they needed to resort to the save warp.
Yeah, I think it's quite possible that we have some major progression items here in upper mines, but not here in Sword Sheep Away. And so actually, that does kind of limit what Arrow can find here in upper mines, because two of the remaining 3 checks are just artifacts. I don't think grapple is required for anything that I've seen yet. Although maybe it's required for... No, actually I don't think grapple is required for anything that has been recorded by runners yet. Oh, right, yes, that's right. We can't get to
Training Chamber
Training Chamber without grapple. Yep. Mistake. Wow, where are these? This seep is super rude logically. Ah, phase on elite. Unfortunately, immediately spotting AeroRaiser. Yeah, I'm wondering if grapple is in like the life grove area, which we have had access
Boost
to.
phase on elite. Or vanilla grapple.
Vanilla grapple is an artifact.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's also true. We have a decent chunk of Farfendrana available to us, even without grapple. Yep, so it looks like the artifact is in upper elite research here. Assuming that was not it on phase on elite itself. Should be able to pick this up, although it is very tedious.
Yeah, I mean, you can do the spinner minute. I think in this case it would be worth it.
Yeah, really don't want to have to come back here, but
Because depending on where boost is, having to route back here could be pretty difficult.
yeah, we're struggling a little bit so far. Just a little bit there. There we go. And there's our boost ball.
Finding boost ball in elite control access.
Definitely save some time on this thing that Arrow is doing here.
And it would have saved Op if he had gone one room over before going down in lower mines.
That's true. That's so unfortunate. Yeah. I think both runners might be kicking themselves about that boost location. Because I'm guessing that might be Arrow's very next check after picking this up here. "45 degrees down, 270 to go." You know, it looks like Op is doing vanilla or processing strats.
Arrow unfortunately falling.
Yeah, elite research is really no fun without a boost ball. And yeah, or processing, not a ton of fun without grapple either. That last jump onto some standable is pretty tricky to pull off.
Picking up artifact number 4 here in Storage Depot B.
Yeah, just needs to find the 2 in upper mines, then find that plasma and Phazon suit. Arrow reclaims the room and is back to slowly spinning this turret. This strat is so frustrating to do. So when you get sucked into the spinner here, if you move the control stick in a certain direction, you can end up kind of moving the morph ball, which kind of counts as doing what the spinner expects with the boost ball. So you can very slowly make the spinner work.
Yeah, so the ideal way to do this is when you leave the spinner, you're going to go, out towards the other wall until the camera rotates. And then once the camera rotates, you'll bring it back into the boost slot and hold down right. That tends to work the best.
Yeah, this strat is really slow. Like, relative to going down to the boombox and getting boost ball, this is probably still slower, but Arrow has no idea where boost ball is, so relative to needing to climb all the way back up to this room, which is pretty hard to access, especially with our elevators, I really don't blame Arrow for going for this. Yeah, this is definitely giving off some time to catch up on checks here. Narrow down those options until Thardus becomes the reasonable play. This right, I wonder if we'll see both these runners pick this artifact up at the same time. Boost really does take a lot of time here.
Might be possible.
We have Thardus holding our plasma beam, which Arrow checked on the hunt for ice beam. Ice was in upper dynamo, requiring a long trip to alcove, given our elevators being somewhat rude where the spider ball was. And yeah, boombox being security access A in kind of mid phase-on mines. Oh, sorry, elite control access.
Security
I get all these
access
mines
A
names
is
confused.
the front
you're right,
after
Ezra.
quarry.
Off getting the pirate data that I always accidentally scan when trying to activate these platforms. Ooh, just a little short of the standable there. Meanwhile, Arrow showing off the standable that lets you climb ore processing without doing the vanilla spider puzzle. I think you need to get a little more of a slope jump off that pipe to make it the height necessary to get to the upper platform. Yep, and we're getting sick of this, and we'll opt for the vanilla strats.
Picking up artifact number 5 at the top of Elite Research.
Yeah, and he's pretty close to number 6 here in vanilla grapple. Or has Op already picked that up? Maybe Op is at 6. Has Op missed any?
I don't think so.
Cargo freight. Neither runner has done cargo freight yet.
Oh, yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, Op definitely made up a good chunk of time there with the earlier boost ball find. And even just having it for movement is nice. Could definitely speed up progress through a number of rooms in this game. So yeah, with this, I think Op has gotten everything possible out of mine so far, so is opting to leave. Meanwhile, Arrow still needs to make the play to mid and lower mines.
Now, the one benefit Arrow has is that plasma beam, so they can continue past MQA, whereas Op could not.
Yeah, at this point, I think it's fairly likely that Phazon is still in lower mines where it does like to hang out. And if that does end up being the case, the seed Arrow still may be in pretty good shape here, even with the time loss here in upper mines. Yeah, I really don't know when Op is going to choose to do Thardis. It's just such an unappealing check at this point.
Yeah. I think Op is thinking Frigate now. Grab that last artifact. We'll likely check Overgrown Cavern on the way.
Oh, Arrow, unfortunate. Being bullied by limited influence there. This is an interesting climb of ore processing. If you move these spider tracks into positions, it's fairly easy to get like a slope jump onto them and then a jump up to the next level. But unfortunately, if you slide off, you can end up falling.
And there's Grapple. An Overgrown Cavern here.
Well, that does put...
Now this quarantine monitor in...
Yep, and it does actually put
I
Patterson
probably would have
logic here
checked
too.
quarantine monitor.
Because Op does know now that Thermal is in logic. So this may actually influence Op to immediately go check Frigate here. Or nope.
Curious on what Op's thinking here.
It's not a huge time loss to not pick up cargo freight now. Like, it is pretty quick once you're heading back for the ship save to go grab cargo freight and come back. Yeah, the frigate play would be pretty interesting here, I think, on Op's side. Well, Arrow about to find that boost ball. I won't be too happy about this. Well, happy to find it anyways. Unhappy not to have found it earlier. Oh, Op hasn't done Root Cave or Arbor Chamber yet. Get those out of the way. Here I'm making quick work of that elite pirate with the missiles. And yeah, we'll be heading into lower mines for 2 of the last 3 artifacts, and we'll see if they make the play all the way. How far, anyways, they go into lower mines here, looking for that Phazon suit. I would definitely be tempted to make the play all the way through PCA here, just given the relative likelihood of Phazon being down here at this point. But it is also possible that it's somewhere in Farfandrana or Tree Chamber area, so could opt to warp out of Central Dynamo and head to those places first.
Okay, up heading back towards the frigate crash site. Now, are they thinking dipping frigate for the artifact? Are they thinking going all the way through? Do they want to do Thardis? You know, we'll see what they decide. And Ankh is going into frigate.
If Aero gets a slightly kinder maze than opted. Doesn't look great off the top of off the bat here, but we'll see. I think this looks pretty terrible. Didn't get a good count on that one, but yeah, also did not look like a terribly good maze there. Thank you, Zoid. Alright, double checking the last couple artifacts. You can pretty easily get the one on MQA here, but we'll eventually have to make this a good play as well. Hop is continuing to frigate. Do we know where the lower frigate elevator goes yet? Seems like it could either be PPC or Farfandrana. I don't think I'll drop down to PCA, yeah.
You know what? I think Great Tree Hall lower goes to Workstation Debris.
Oh, did someone check that elevator at some point?
No, but Great Tree Hall upper goes to Lava Lake, and Frigate Crash Site goes to Farfandrana. And then the other Reflecting Pool elevator goes to PPC.
Ah, then yes, you're right.
And then Main Quarry and Talon. So I think it has to be lower Great Tree Hall to Workstation.
No, unfortunately, Flagra and Ghosts were not the answer to seed. Instead, it was the humble Upper Dynamo that held our Ice Beam. Yeah, forget only holding the artifact today. So we are pretty much down to Tree Hall area, Farfen, and Lower Mines here. Harold will be showing us.
Can get.
Yep, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, Op can get both Great Tree Hall and all of the life proof checks.
Yep, and Arrow will be heading into Lower Mines, so Relatively likely we'll be ending up finding this phase on soon here, unless it is actually just sitting
Yeah.
in Farfandrana.
And Great Tree Hall indeed goes to workstation debris. The lower elevator. Yeah, phazon and plasma processing, that would be not great for this seed.
Yeah, that would be a pretty rude location. I think we're also GP. I'm pretty sure we have full cleared Chozo at this point. And once we finish lower mines, I think that's everything on mines. LED Fandrana is full clear, as is Frigate.
No, so Farfandrana goes to Frigate Crash Site. PPC goes to the Reflecting Pool far end elevator.
Three checks left here for Aero and lower mines. Meanwhile, the tree hall area not paying off for AWP. So at this point, there's actually more options in Farfandrana, but Vanilla Phazon is still definitely a plausible option here.
Yeah, did either runner? Well, I guess Arrow would have been the only one to be able to, but Arrow didn't check PCA from the backside, right?
I don't believe Arrow dropped down there yet. Actually, I'm not even certain if Arrow has
So I
checked
believe-
PPC.
Yeah, because I believe they came in through Quarry, right?
Yeah, I don't think they went through PPC either time heading into fleet control. Gosh, what a seed. We're almost at the 2-hour mark. Still not in go mode. AWP is heading into mid-Magmore. I wonder if this is another play to Fendrana.
It could be. Did Op? Well, Op may have not checked Upper Fiery Shores either.
Oh, and there's, yep, can also check Vanilla Plasma here too. Yeah, that's actually interesting. So if Op ends up heading to shorelines, at that point, rather than going all the way through labs, maybe you do just fight the artist to get into Farfandrana.
Yeah. And if Phazon is here in plasma processing, Op may be able to catch up.
Yeah, honestly, if Arrow doesn't find Phazon down here, I think Op is in decent shape. Just because I think Op will probably end up finding that plasma and then end up running into Farfendrana, where it pretty much will have to be at that point. Or is that it? Is that it? Oh
That's
my
it.
gosh.
I called it.
I'm so sorry, Op. That is tragic.
Oh,
But
man.
that is actually quite good news for Op, because Op will never have to do lower mines now. As shitty as it is to see Phazon Soup and not be able to pick it up.
Oh, boy. I genned this.
Wow, what a seed. So, Op needs to go to Fendrana.
I think this is going to be a close one.
Yeah, I honestly think this may have swung it back in Op's favor. Because I really think as Op, you take this Shorelines elevator, and then you go to Thardis. You go through Thardis to get to Farfendrana, looking for Plasma.
Yeah.
Phazon Suit is in Plasma Processing, so the vanilla Plasma check, which Arrow has not seen. And given that Arrow has not seen it, probably is going to end up heading back to Farfendrana before checking this, unless ends up running through Magmor again. Meanwhile, Off is missing the Plasma Beam from Thardis, but I think with the kind of forced routing here, we'll end up choosing to do Thardis. So yeah, I actually think Off is now Thardis. What a speed.
I mean, Thardis is a slow check, but it's faster than rounding all the way back through labs.
Yeah, all the way through labs after you've already made all of the check just feels pretty bad at this point. And with all the equipment that Off has, plenty of supers, plenty of power bombs, Thardis is slow, but it's still faster than labs, and you get a check as a result of it. Off, are you playing? Okay. Off is heading to Fendrana Shorelines. And OP goes down on AeroRaiser side. Did a nice job with the Super Missile Strike for the one cycle. But unfortunately, can't really be anything here. Most exciting thing we could find is Wave Buster. But just a missile.
Just a missile.
So yeah, this will be the moment of truth. Does Op do Thardis? Op could also elect to try to go for Thardis skip here to go into Farfendrana first. There are more checks out that way. But I would hope at that point that Op would turn around to do Thardis at least after Farfendrana. Wave Buster was Elder Chamber. Okay. And yes, heading towards Thardis' room.
It's the
Does
Thardis
Op
way.
do it?
Maybe.
Points some missiles. Yeah, this could be very close if Arrow makes the Magmor play now.
Well, Arrow has a little bit of a trek to get back to Magmore.
That's true, yeah.
Because this PPC puts you back into the reflecting pool far end. And would have to go to, where's the closest? Sun Tower elevator? To
Yeah,
Twin
save warp into Sun
Fires,
Tower,
I
puts you
think,
pretty
right?
close. The workstation save, I think, was Main Plaza. So yeah, either of the early Chozo elevators get you there pretty quick. Alright, where does Arrow go from here?
And once Op finishes Stardust and gets their plasma, yeah, he's pretty close to Phazon. Just
Yep,
goes
Arrow
back out shorelines.
Arrow will need to make the play into cargo freight at some point as well still.
Yeah.
Takes this Talon Overworld elevator. I don't think any of these elevators go to Magmore around here. Yeah, maybe the Frigate Crash Site at one.
So workstation debris goes to lower Great Tree Hall. So Op either comes back to shorelines to take the Frigate Crash Site elevator and Farfandrana, or it takes workstation debris to lower Great Tree Hall and does reverse frigate.
Could also save warp, head to Far Chozo to the Root Cave elevator.
Oh, that is also an option too. So yeah, Op has a few different options for getting back to ship. And Op getting plasma. It's going to be rushing for that Phazon suit.
I'm going to switch back audio to Op here, who I think is now in the lead here in go mode. Just needs to head back to plasma processing for that Phazon suit. Phazon is in plasma processing. Op took a peek of that without being able to acquire it, given the lack of plasma beam, but with that knowledge, is heading straight back there. Meanwhile, Arrow has not gotten a chance to check peak plasma processing. Also hasn't seen the Tree Hall area, or Frigate, or Farfandrana. So it'll be interesting to see if, when Arrow does make the play for that one remaining Magmore check that he hasn't seen. He's making the play into cargo freight. We'll get that last artifact, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Arrow play all the way through Frigate here, although this won't end up paying out. Yeah, I mean, grapple isn't a super necessary item for Arrow, but it may put the thought of plasma processing into his mind, since that is a requirement for that to be in logic.
Yeah.
Well, Op is hightailing it back to plasma processing. Ooh, showing off some nice combat dashes there. Holding the lock on through the room transition to get a quick dash across that room. Ooh, that is a good standable. I like that a lot more than the slope jump to get up to this room.
Yeah. You can slip off that standable easily, but it is a little more consistent.
Alright, Op does acquire the phase-on
Up,
suit.
down, go mode.
Just needs to head to final bosses.
Yep, could opt to stop by for the thermal visor, but being, how long of a check that is, I think op is just heading to the final bosses.
Yeah, really not many good options here. I think the save warp is probably the play. No, instead it's heading for this elevator. It's the tree hall lower, so maybe opting to do the reverse frigate play. Yeah, it's a tough call. I'm not actually certain which route is faster here. This is a decent hike from mid Chozo to the far Chozo elevator to Root Cave.
Thing is, scouring the map, trying to think of, okay, I have all these options, which one's the shortest, is going to waste time. I think the best play is to just pick a route and go with it.
Mm-hmm. Here at the 2-hour mark, we have both runners in frigate. Just what you always like to see. Actually, a high five I can give this room. Yeah, this is a little unfortunate for Arrow. Probably going to get led into the tree chamber checks here. Although both of these elevators do go back to Magmar, so at that point, Arrow may end up making the check for plasma or for phase-on suit. But yeah, Op definitely in lead here. Most of the way through frigate here. Meanwhile, Arrow gets, what is that, the 10th, 11th E-tank? very healthy here and for final bosses eventually. It looks like that is 11 E-tanks. Definitely no danger of final bosses dealing that much damage, I think, to either of these runners.
Yeah, definitely well equipped.
Top finally closing out on the ship. Make that final save. Head on to Ridley. Well, Arrow has finished off the tree hall area, and hopefully we'll end up heading to plasma processing here, given that both of the tree hall elevators take us into Magmore. Yes, Sop moves on to Ridley. Quick plasma beam shots make short work of the first phase here. The Pop is able to get the flyby skip. That doesn't even look like we're going for it. And we'll set up for the second phase, which is quickly dealt with by the boost ball. Boost ball dealing something like 50,000 damage per frame to Ridley, who only has a few thousand health. Pretty much instantly will kill this phase as soon as Ridley touches the ground here.
Yeah, if not for the hard cap, for that last quarter, it would insta-kill Ridley.
Arrow is in workstation. Does he go for plasma processing? In that direction. Nice shove off there with the Ridley fight.
Yep, making quick work.
And Arrow is on track to find that phase-on suit. So yeah, this will end up being a pretty close race. Sop is still in very, very good position, but it will probably only be a matter of minutes separating these runners, which is pretty impressive for it being at such a long seed. And alright, that is go move for Arrow. Let's make his way back to Talon. Just need to remember where all these elevators go. Megmore, unfortunately, has a ton of elevators. So if you haven't kind of written them down or memorized them, it can be hard to kind of keep track of what goes where here.
Yeah. Now starting the Metroid Prime fight. So the first part, the exoskeleton, has 4 different colors to indicate vulnerabilities to each of the 4 beams. Now, Subchamber 1 has wave and power. Subchamber 2 adds ice. Subchamber 3 adds plasma. And now, for each of these subchambers, this can be in any order. Now, once you get into the 4th subchamber, Exo can pretty much do, whatever they want. Can speed up, can charge at any time, can switch beams.
Yep, and so normally each phase of these fights has 150 health, but with the exception of the final phase of each subchamber and both phases of the first subchamber, you can actually deal damage and put credit towards the next phase while the current phase is happening. And so, for instance, there you saw it only took 1 wave beam shot to take out the wave beam phase there, because Op fired a super missile that over damaged the power phase and allowed the wave beam phase to be completed very quickly. And that's pretty much what we want to see here.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, it's 200 per. Yeah, because the super has been 50 and charge one is 50. Running a bit low on missiles, won't be able to use too much more Ice Spreader for the rest of the fight. Might be able to get another super or 2 off. Looks like Arrow decided to take the save warp route. Back to Chozo and then to Bar Chozo for the Root Cave elevator. Because yeah, not too far behind approaching final bosses here. Does have a little bit of an advantage of 40 extra missiles heading into these final bosses. Will allow a little bit more use of the supers and Ice Spreader that both runners have picked up. Oh, what? That was a weird Ice Spreader shot. Only with the homing, that's pretty likely to hit, but for some reason it took a very strange arc there. More super pretty much ought to do it here. And indeed, that down goes the EXO.
Yeah, nicely done. Alright, Op now in the Essence fight. Going to be starting off with some attack cancels here. Op going for full cancels instead. Trying to get the most damage. Unfortunately, it does not have the thermal visor here. I was going to have to guess on where Metroid Prime is. We use the scan visor.
Does look like
doing a pretty good job
that
though.
catches in, which is very nice. Was not where I expected that pool to show up. We're going for pool cancels again. This works out. Should be able to finish Essence off with the next X-ray pool.
Meanwhile, Arrow has finished Ridley and is now in the Impact Crater. Should be able to finish Essence off here with this pool. And Op has finished. GG's. Op is finished with an official race time to GG time of 2 hours, 26 minutes, and 59 seconds. And AeroRaiser has chosen to forfeit. Sure, we'll get both of them in here for an interview, and we are joined by Op and AeroRaiser. How you guys doing?
Yes, I just got to EXO.
Yeah, that ended up being a very close race.
Seed was
GG's to you both.
so... I knew this was going to be close, but gosh, this seed was rude.
This is maybe the worst seed I've seen in this
I'm not
tournament
sure
so
how
far.
many times I hard last location something this seed.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Like, Ice Beam was hard last location. I forgot Upper Dynamo, so I was like, okay, maybe it's on Thardus, and then I happened on Plasma. I'm like, this is cool, but where's my Ice Beam? And I'm like, oh, I have Spider. Ghosts. Didn't get anything on Ghost. I'm like, what did I not get? Ice Beams in Upper Dynamo.
Yeah, this was a very interesting seed to watch. It was very back and forth in terms of you both finding progression at different times.
Also, I am very angry at that boost ball.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
that
not
was
like I
kinda-
had just spent
We-
10 minutes doing the really stupid trick to get the artifact.
We figured.
Yeah, I was not happy to see that. Plasma processing is just as rude.
Op actually had the opposite but very similar experience of choosing to go from PVC into vent shaft before checking the boombox, and so also regretted probably not finding that boost ball beforehand. That was a pretty rude
Yeah.
location.
I wish I had not committed to OP.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest differences. Is Arrow, you did find plasma while looking for ice beam, which looked to be a pretty big advantage. But given that Phazon wasn't, well, was plasma locked, but not not in the lower mines kind of sense, right? Like where Op was able to see where Phazon was without having plasma, and therefore kind of narrowed down all those checks.
Oh, that was pretty nice. But yeah, GG's up.
GG's.
No, I was sitting here getting worried. Like I was walking through crater climbing. I'm like, okay, either he's right behind me or he's right ahead of me.
Yeah, at that point there wasn't a ton left. I don't think either of you made it into Farfendrana, but really that's only,
Farfendrana is the
a
only
couple
thing I
minutes
did
of
not
checks.
do. That's because like I got ice. Once I had ice, I'm like, Farfendrana is the last thing I'm gonna do. These elevators are pretty bad.
Yeah, pretty rude. the hour mark alcove check for Spider Ball to have to take it all the way back to your starting location for ice was just
Yeah,
something special.
like the big thing. If we had, it would have been nice if one of us had done it and been like just immediately warped to start and checked up. And I'm like, oh, the reward.
Yeah, no, I think that was pretty much last location for each of
Having
you.
warp to start, I think having warp to start has saved you guys in some aspects of the routing. With warp to start disabled, this would be
This would have been a 3.5 hour seed. It's that bad.
it would have been not great. And I have to apologize because I generated this.
I think
Yeah,
you might you have reached Diggle levels with this. This might be the worst seed I've ever played.
I mean, even the thermal visor location, just like given
as
that
soon
was
as I saw that, I'm like, well, I'm not getting that.
yeah, but that being required for Thardis logically, having to
Mhm.
come all the way back there, just something special.
I'm going to assume that is Wave Buster and MQB. Because I'm pretty sure we found the rest of the beam combos beforehand. And I peeked a beam combo in MQB.
Yep,
Yeah.
looks like it was NQB. Yeah, I guess up any particular thoughts about the seed?
I forgot what I was gonna say.
No, that's all right.
Oh. I'm not even mad at losing this one. This seed was ooh.
What were you thinking when you had to go back to Flogger for the second time?
I was sitting here. Yeah, well, I knew I was gonna have to eventually because as soon as I did Flogger, I'm like, okay, I have super, so it's safe to go ahead and do Flogger and come back. If I hadn't had supers, I probably wouldn't have done it the
So-
first time.
So Op actually fought Flagra, saw it was an E-tank, and reset out. So they ended up fighting Flagra twice to check ghosts.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, but at that point, like, it was that or Upper Dynamo. Like, I think those are the only possible locations for progression.
Yeah.
Um,
Usually, you expect Flogger in these settings, in this build. In these builds, Flogger has been really powerful. Didn't pan out this time.
yeah, not today. Yeah, this was an interesting seed, especially with like things like Boost and Spider not being free. Pretty rude beam locations.
Talon access in general was horrible.
Yeah. Yeah, even just the routing from
Yeah, not great.
When I got
plasma
Phazon,
processing
I had to
back.
decide. I was like, so which way am I taking to go back? I got two ways. Both of them suck.
Yep. Yeah, I think you both opted for the opposite approaches. Chose to do the reverse frigate route, and you took the save warp.
I thought
for
about
Chozo.
I thought about like I could reverse frigate or I could save work and rush through back of Chozo.
Actually, I'd be a little curious to kind of in the VOD to kind of just see the time from like phase on
feel
to
like-
shift save with your two routes.
I feel like they take about the same time, which I felt like I might be behind, so I didn't even do chip save. I'm like, I still have 11 E-tanks left. I have 100 out of 120 missiles. And I'm only missing one power bomb. Bruce chip save.
Yep, something like 12 E-tanks there. Yeah, definitely no danger in from the final bosses.
Yeah, no, not at all. No, Ridley was rude.
Yeah, a lot of dashes
Would
there.
not stop dashing. I'd snipe and get a few hits, and then they'll dash again.
Yep, got the invulnerability as
Yeah,
well
I got
there.
that once too. It was just raw. But yeah, I don't really have any much else to say to the seed. GG op.
GG.
Yeah, no, thank you to both of our runners. Be sure to give both of them a follow. The links are posted there in chat.
Follow the comms too.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, definitely give Sass a follow here.
thanks.
And thanks as well to Sheik for tracking both of these runners. Always
Follow the tracker
challenging.
too.
Yeah, challenging to track two people at once. So appreciate you helping us out there.
Yeah.
Also, there is a link to the bracket and the schedule of upcoming matches. So we do have one more race tonight on
Yeah, in like
SpeedGaming
20
2.
minutes, right? 20 minutes, right?
Starts in 24 minutes, yeah. And there's also the link to the Discord if you're thinking about getting into the randomizer or just want to join the community. Feel free. And
Yeah, that's a great
other than that,
community
I
and
think we
a really
will.
fun random.
Yeah.
GG's everybody.
I think we will call it there. GG's again to our runners, and thanks to everyone in chat and for Speed Gaming staff. You know, if it wasn't for Speed Gaming, we wouldn't, have these restreams, to kind of show off these community races. So we really appreciate them.
GG's everyone. I'm gonna hop out.
All
All right,
right.
and I think we will call it there. I'll see you guys next mission.